We have parishes that have been practically destroyed. Priests who are living in difficult situations because they had to abandon their missions empty-handed. Children, elderly people and others who are in great need, and we can't handle it by ourselves. These are the words of Bishop António Juliasse Sandramo, the newly installed bishop of the Diocese of Pemba, located in the Cabo Delgado region of Mozambique. Cabo Delgado, the most northern province of Mozambique, has been badly hit by violence that began in 2017 when terrorists began a large-scale offensive against the local population, which has left over 4,000 dead and more than 850,000 people displaced. To tell us more about the terrorist attacks in Cabo Delgado, the impact on the local population and the work of the Church seeking to provide spiritual solace and material care, it is my privilege to welcome His Excellency Bishop António Ferreira Sandramo. Your Excellency, thank you for being here today with us on our program.
You're welcome.
It's a great privilege.
Thank you also for this privilege.
Your Excellency, you were installed as the new Bishop of Cabo Delgado in May of 2022, so very recently. What were your thoughts when you received the call from the Nuncio?
The first time I said it was a grateful moment because the Church and the Pope were confident to choose you, to choose me, and to stay in that diocese. But at the second moment, it was very difficult for me because I was aware about the situation there. The violence. The violence. But I said, someone have to do.
Did you want to refuse?
I didn't because, I understood that all those who consecrate himself to God, the consecration is like that. You have to go where the Church need you to stay, and where people needing your presence. So that comes up to me, and I said, okay, I'll be there. I'll go there.
With the gift of the Holy Spirit, you have the strength.
Yes, I do.
Your Excellency, sadly, as we know, the area is at the epicenter of extremist violence, and the violence is targeting Christians and Muslims alike, particularly Muslims who also don't agree with this fundamentalist approach. Can you tell us who or what is behind the violence that we are seeing in the Pemba Diocese, the Cabo Delgado region of Mozambique?
What we see, we are experiencing in Cabo Delgado is the suffering. Who is behind of that? As a church, sometimes it is very difficult to have answer. So when we talk to the people, who is there, the people say they are Al-Shabaab. That means they themselves, those one, they present themselves as Al-Shabaab, and people know that they are Al-Shabaab. And then when the government started to talk about them, they said they are insurgent. And in the last time, recently, the government is saying that they are terrorists linked with Islamic extremists. And also in their part, some messages, some videos, they say that they are doing jihadists. So they are jihadists. So, but what is really behind of this? No, we don't have a clear answer in this moment.
You only see the suffering that this inflicts on your people.
Yes.
As you mentioned, the group is called Al-Shabaab. They have been purported to have relations with ISWAP, with the Islamic State. And at the same time, many of the fighters are local boys. Can you tell us why are young boys and young men from the local region being drawn into these kinds of terrorist groups?
When they appear in the populations, when they are doing attacks, you never know who is there because they cover their face. But we know with more people coming from their bases, who they run the way, and they say they are telling us that there are some few from outside, from other countries. Most of them are the young people from Mozambique.
But what draws them to become a fighter? Is it just the money? Is it frustration?
Some of them are kidnapped. Other ones, they are volunteers. They are going there to join with them with promises of money or the Islamic promises. Like we are doing this war because if you win, all this richness will belong to us, and so we'll lead this. So they believe in this, and they go to join to them. But the deep reason is the poverty is there.
The poverty.
Yeah, the young people mostly don't have jobs, and also when they look for their future, they cannot see clearly where the country is going and what will be with their self.
So somebody comes along with a gun and with money and says to a young boy, here, I give you a weapon and you can change your situation and you can become rich.
At first, they do not present you a gun. They will say only, come with us, and then you will have job and we will pay you a lot of money. So when you goes there to the bush, so then you have gun. There's no way to go back. Also, those one who are kidnapped, when they goes there, they have to choose life or death. If they choose life, so then they have to fight, and they join to them.
So there's either they're killed or they join the force, the group.
Yes.
What would be a typical attack? How do they normally? Do they come at night? Do they come on motorcycles? Would be a typical attack on for example, a mission station or a parish or a town or a village?
There's no typical. They change all over the time. They can come at night, at morning, afternoon, or what we saw till now. There's no time. Maybe they also are very strategic. They can see that the soldiers or others are very present in that time, so then they choose another time. Though all over the time, people, they can enter in one village at morning and start burning houses, or in the one village and start killing people each morning or afternoon or at night.
Your diocese, Pemba diocese, has been very much affected, both the people and the material, the buildings and the houses. And can you describe a little bit to us how your own diocese has been so affected in material and human terms?
Now, because of this war, now more than 3,000 dead, and more villages are burnt, and the lands are abandoned. Churches and the properties belongs to the diocese. Some are destroyed, others are simply abandoned. And that is it. And some people are still living in those areas, dangerous areas, but their life is very difficult. They always have to hide themselves in the bush. And now we have more than 850,000 internal displaced people. And most of them are in Pemba diocese.
So 850,000 people are on the move.
Yes.
Is the church a particular target? Has the church become, or is the church and the parish and the outstations a target like any other?
Not properly. We sometimes we feel that, but when we saw this with objectivity, we saw that it's not only a Catholic church or a Christian church. They also are destroying mosques, and they also killing Muslims. Those who are not radicalized. So, but we, in this moment, I have more than 8 parishes that theirs is not possible to
live or to serve.
To live or to serve.
The latest major attack was against a Catholic mission called Chipene in the neighboring diocese of Nampula. The whole mission was destroyed. Most of the students at the school were away at the time, but an 83-year-old Italian nun, a Camboni sister, Maria De Coppi, was shot and killed. You knew her, and you called her, after her death, you called her a martyr. Why did you give her this recognition?
She did a lot of missionary works in the Pemba diocese, and also in Nampula and in Nacala dioceses. She was in Mozambique as a missionary more than 50 years. I think she was there 59 years. And she was murdered when she was doing her missionary work, serving God, serving church, and serving people in need around her. So she was killed because she was there for this.
For her faith.
Not for herself.
But for her faith and her service.
Yes. So that she's martyred.
Until now, the government response to the violence, which has caused over 4,000 deaths, has been focused on a military force. But you believe that the military response is not the only one. Can you tell us a little bit more what response is necessary for this problem?
No, the problem is taking now 5 years. Since 2017. So it is the unique response till now. But the situation is there.
And not getting better.
It's not getting better. It is getting worse. So in my view, the government, all the Mozambican society, has to have another kind of response for that. Is to mobilize all the society, all the leaders of the society, civil leaders, religious leaders, and also the government leaders to join and to give other kind of response that include the social justice among our society.
So in fact, it's to try and go to the root of the problem, which, as you mentioned, was poverty, corruption, and frustration among the young people.
Yes, these and the fact these to face with those problems, all those problems, and to give the very clear direction of those problems, because there are many problems. The problems of the unemployment, the problems of poverty, the problem of corruption, the problem of I would say inequalities in our society. All these, some are feeling that they are excluded. Is that correct?
Correct.
They are not part of the society correctly, and they have nothing to lose. If they can damage something, for them is okay. I'm not losing. This feeling is very dangerous, than other things. So if all of the Mozambicans, all those that can do something, join and they give other kind of response, the young people will start believing that
there's a future.
the future is there. So better for me to go in this way, because we reach the future that which is good for us, all of us, not for them.
A collateral impact of the war is the growing reality of famine, of man-made famine. You have people who have been, you have mentioned 850,000 IDPs. Most of these people are farmers.
Yes, yes.
And they've
yes.
had to leave their land. What challenge do you see of a perspective of famine coming to your country?
We did a lot till now. That sometimes I'm thinking, I did it many times to think all the world that helped us for this. Since this situation began, if we didn't have the help to feed, to give food to those people, now you should report many people dead because of the famine. But there's not, because of the help from international, from the people in the other countries, in Europe, in America, everywhere. Yeah, so I want to have this moment to say to all of the people who gave something to Cabo Delgado, to Mozambique, to help Mozambique, I want to say that deeply, that I'm thinking, because we did it till now. But we have not to stop, because the people are still there. And we have to stay there with them and to help them. Our solidarity must continue to them. What I was saying is also that the people, when they are moving from their places, some of them are in camps. Those camps there's no enough conditions, even for farming, for them to farm. Sometimes we are helping them with material to do farming, but the land that they can have is just so small. They can use food for 3 months, 4 months. Then again comes
the challenge.
Yeah, there comes a challenge. So we have not to say that the situation is solved. It's not solved. Yeah, there is a problem, big problem. And there's other problems. In the camps you'll find kids, you'll find the women, men, all the people are there. There's a problem of health. There's a problem of school. There's many problems, even social problems. They have to lead with that. And so then we have other problems of what they have experienced before.
The trauma.
The trauma, so we have to lead with that.
Some of the religious sisters, I know this Augustinian sisters, I believe, and other religious communities are very much involved in this question of trauma healing. How do they help when the trauma is so deep, when the trauma is so violent? How can this healing start to occur?
That is the way of the church, to meet people, to sit with them, to hear them, to understand them, and then technically to give them some response for their trauma. That is the sisters are involved in that. But we know as a diocese that what we are doing is not enough, because we cannot cover all the camps. There are too many.
There are too many.
Yes, too many. So what we are doing is, so it is very small. I'll say that's small.
Yes.
Yes, than what should be done in assisting them, because this is not this kind of activity is not something that you the same like to give food.
No.
You can go with a list and give food. This one you have to take time to know who, and then they have to be confident with you. to talk. And that is slowly, but it's being well done with the sisters.
Another area where the church is reaching out is through radio. And there are a number of Catholic radios in Africa and also in Mozambique. How important is radio, especially for the populations who have been dispersed from their homes, that they can still hear the Mass, the Word of God?
Yes, the radio is still listened in Mozambique. As you know, our culture is oral. The people are used more to talk and to hear than to read and to write. And the radio is still having a very good importance for that. And the church is also using radio to spread the message of hope and to say that those people suffering, that God is not abandoning you, especially God loves you, and the church is present, and we'll pray, and I'm sure that with our prayers God will hear us, and these things one day will stop.
You say one day will stop. Is this a forgotten war? We hear about the war in Ukraine and Middle East and the war in Mozambique. Is it a forgotten war?
When we see the media and when we read the newspapers around the world, we feel that. But we can understand that there are many things worse in the world. But this feeling that the world is forgetting us is not good. It's not good for us. We are there in the field because we cannot do anything. When we go to see those people suffering, we have a feeling of how to say that in Portuguese we say impotent.
To be impotent.
Yeah, you are not able to do anything because if nothing help you to do that. So then you go there and people ask you school. We have kids here. There's no school. You said, let us cry together. Let us weep together because I can't help you because nobody is helping me to do that. And when you go to see people and they said, we don't have food. And you say, so what I can do? I can stay with you and just to stay. But I have nothing to give you. You see this. This is very difficult. This is a very also part for me because I feel that you can't do anything.
How do you keep your faith? How do you keep your hope when you see day after day after day the suffering?
You know, sometimes we do not see the face of Jesus Christ in the cross. Even when we get into church, we saw Jesus as a very beautiful, young, but he's there in the cross, but you can't see his face that he's suffering there. But when you're in these conditions, you really saw, you can see Jesus in the cross. And you say that this is a big thing, and then my strength is there in that cross. It was contemplating Jesus Christ. And he can say deeply that I'm also the sufferer. I am here. And so go on, be courageous because I'm suffering with them. So that is what gives me a strength, and I think that also all the missionaries are there, have strengths in that, and then we have to go on and saying that this we are doing for Jesus, because he said us that is the way. We have to stay with them, and we are there.
Your Excellency, you are also with the people. Is your life also at risk? And have you been under threat?
Yeah, in this insecurity in this moment is generalized. Nobody in Cabo Delgado, in Pemba, can say that he is safe. Nobody feels that he's safe. Myself also, I'm not feeling that I'm safe. But we have to say that everything is, we believe and we give this to God. When you start a journey to another point, you say, God, lead me. I'm going. You know, so if I will reach that place or I will not reach that place. So I'm going. So then you start go. Before last 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, I went to the north area to visit some people, and then I went to see those missions destroyed. And I didn't also say the government that I was to do that, because maybe they should say, no, you don't, you have not to go there. But I went there because they are people. I want to see them. I want to see what is happening there. So I said, I'm going. So I went. And I think that God protected me.
What can we do?
Many things we can do together. The first thing is to pray for the better world everywhere. You see things that what happened in Cabo Delgado, we can say that it belongs to Cabo Delgado, but it's not. It's linked to another part of the world. People are selling guns to them. People are giving money to them. It's from somewhere. It's not from Mozambique, because Mozambique is poor. Someone is doing that. So the prayer for the better world, for the better situation also in Cabo Delgado. I ask that for all the Christians around the world. And the second thing, solidarity. Each dollar, $2 is enough to give food to one family, or to give lunch, maybe $2 only too. That makes difference if you give it a little bit of you for others, and that helps them to have a life. I think that they are very grateful when they have food, even without knowing who gave that money, but they thank God that someone did that for them to have that food. I hear that. So I still asking the solidarity to all the people of the world to help Cabo Delgado. Cabo Delgado is there and still in need.
Your Excellency, thank you for having been with us today.
You're welcome. It's an honor to stay here.
And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for having been with us today in our program with Bishop Juliasse. Bishop Juliasse is living the suffering face of Christ. We are called to be the merciful face of Christ. If you think you can help through prayer or action, I would ask you to look at the contact information at the end of this program, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.